and welcome back to my channel and to a new year. So as I'm about to enter my second year as a school mum, I thought I would share with you guys some of the money and time saving hacks that I've come up with over the last year. But before I get started, I have a very quick announcement for you guys. So if you come over from our daily vlog channel, you'll know that I've always been a huge fan of Aldi. And the reason being for that is that I have just saved so much in my groceries over the years. And to be honest, I've never come across a product that I haven't found to be either the same quality or even better than the same items that you find in the more expensive grocery stores. And a few weeks ago, I was approached by Aldi Australia to become ambassador to the brand in 2018, which means that from time to time, I'll receive certain products before they hit the shelves. And that way I can do a little test run before they come out to the public and give you guys my feedback. In the past, I've obviously tried to keep a whole lot of sponsorships off my channel because I really don't want these videos to start feeling like inauthentic or a bit too salesy, but I really do love Aldi. And I think that's probably pretty obvious in some of the videos that I've done before. And so I'm looking forward to test driving some of these products and giving you guys my honest opinion on them. So with that in mind, onto the video. So my first hack is actually something I picked up from the school that my children go to. This is something that they do for their first year prep students. And it's just a countdown calendar for the entire month of January leading up to school starting back. If you wanted to do your own, you can include things like putting on shoes and socks, practicing writing their name, cutting out magazine images, and practicing opening and closing their lunch boxes. This saves time by encouraging your children to just be that little bit more helpful in the morning routine, and also gives them that sense of independence, like they're able to do these things by themselves now. Another thing that it does is it helps both you and your child visualize exactly how many days left until school starts back, because I know it can sort of come up on you out of nowhere, and especially if your child is going to school for the very first time, they can probably feel a little bit anxious. So doing one of these calendars can start building up a little bit of excitement, show your child some of the things that they're going to be doing when they go to school, and help to alleviate some of that anxiety that they might be feeling about going to school. As your child gets a little bit older, like for example, my daughter Heidi is now going into grade 1, you're obviously going to put in activities and chores that are more appropriate to their age level. These might be things like revising last year's sight words, practice packing their school bag, brushing their hair up into a ponytail, etc. So then they're going back to school with that routine and content fresh in their mind again. Tip number 2 is leave buying your back to school supplies to the last minute. Obviously, this might seem a little bit crazy in terms of preparedness, but by buying all of your school supplies in the week or two before school starts back, you can start to make use of some of those back to school sales that start to pop up and generally get a better price on your entire school supplies list. I know that some local office supply stores offer book list fulfillment services where you can either take in your book list or upload it online and they'll fill it all out for you and then generally give you like a 10 or 20% discount. So for me, that's going to equate to a savings of about $45 over the 2 school book lists that I have to fill out this year. Now, unfortunately, Aldi in their back to school sales didn't quite stock all of the things I need. So for example, the kids actually have to have special notebooks this year because they're in the grade 1 and 2 levels, which means that they have to have special ruled books. You guys might be familiar with that. So it isn't until a little bit later on in school that they get the regular lined notepads, but back when they're young, they have like a red and blue lined notebook, which Aldi, from what I can gather, don't stock at this point. When I do look through the catalog, the kind of notebook that I do see there would be perfect for those older children. So if you haven't already bought those books, then maybe go and check those out because it is quite a savings from what I can see. But out of the items such as crayons, colored and lead pencils, scissors, erasers, rulers, all of those kinds of stationery items that I need on my book list and Aldi does happen to stock. I've done a little cross-reference between the prices that were offered on my school book list and then the prices that Aldi offered. And out of the items that they did stock, there was a huge savings. So my book list actually quoted me for those items $55.76, I believe it was. And then the Aldi quote was about $21 and something cents. But when I worked it out, there was about a 61 or just under 61% savings, which is ridiculous. So I am going to hold out until those products do hit the Aldi shelves and then go and buy all of those then and there. That way I'm going to be saving at least $60 off both of my children's school book lists. So as you can see, by holding out until that 1 or 2 week mark before school starts back, you can save a huge amount, but still have time for covering and labeling. Which brings me to tip 3. So I have noticed in the catalogue that Aldi does have iron and stick-on labels coming in this year. So if you haven't already sorted that out, they come out on the 10th of January with all of the other back to school supplies. I actually still have a whole bunch of the other labels that I bought last year, so I won't need to worry about getting those. However, I do need to worry about book covering, and it's something that I have been putting off because I had a terrible experience with contact last year. I consider myself to be someone who's pretty good with those kinds of things, but my book contacting experience last year was an absolute nightmare. So this year I found a slightly different solution. I've actually covered all of my books in like a linen cloth. So I just picked up a couple of meters of fabric from my local craft supplies store. They were actually having a really good sale, so I ended up getting my fabric at about $5 per meter, and you can use a number of different methods to adhere it to the book. You can use like a glue stick. What I've done is I've grabbed some of this double-sided heat and bond paper, which you iron directly to your fabric, then peel off the back and simply iron the rest of it directly onto your school books. You can get a little bit creative with this if you have time. I actually pulled out my mum's sewing machine and stitched around the edges of the books just to give them a really cute little finished look, and finished by printing a business card size label and fixing it to the front. If you don't have a printer at home, you could use an iron-on fabric label, write it yourself with a fabric pen, or get it printed at a local fabric store. I've been dying to try this gold foil for ages, which I picked up for about $2 at my local craft store, which fixes itself to laser printed text or images with heat from an iron or a laminating machine. I saved so much time and money this way, spending just over $1 to cover each book, as opposed to the $3 per book I spent last year on contact. My hack number 4 is all about shoes. So last year the shoes that I purchased for Heidi were around the $100 mark, and to be honest, they just did not last. I mean, don't get me wrong, they did pretty well considering I bought the fabric runners rather than the leather. And when kids wear shoes to school every single day, they really put them through the ringer. So any shoe is going to deteriorate to some level throughout the year. And really, the only problem I had with these is that they did fray in some of the areas on the toes and around where the laces went in. So really, I am just going to give these a good wash, and Heidi can wear these on her sports days this year. However, this year she does have to wear a formal uniform for the majority of the time she's at school, which means that she has to wear formal shoes with that as well. So what I'm going to test out this year is having 2 pairs of shoes for each child. Now, before you guys click out of this video, because that sounds absolutely crazy, I just want to make a note of the fact that when this offer from Aldi rolled around, I'd actually bought a pair of shoes for Heidi for school already, and I didn't know that Aldi were coming out with their own line of them. So being such a big Aldi fan, of course I still wanted to test them out, and I figured that because young children do tend to run around and scuff their shoes during their playtime at school, I might keep 1 pair of shoes aside for formal events like awards or school excursions or photo days, and then have the other pair for day-to-day use. And I do know that the idea of having to buy 2 pairs of shoes might seem a little bit excessive and costly, but if you look at the price point of the formal option that Aldi offers, for example, you're looking at about $30 for 2 pairs of shoes, as opposed to the $100 or $120 you might pay for other brands. So if you are on a tight budget, they're a fabulous option, and I will make sure to keep you guys updated on the wearability of the shoes throughout the year in case you've already bought shoes like me this year, but you want to try them out next year. But honestly, for $15, you may as well just go out, grab a pair, and have them in the bottom of your cupboard just in case. My next hot tip is having a car caddy. So obviously this is not a new idea. People have had car caddies for forever, and there's something that you can pretty much buy anywhere as well. I know that Old Faithful does have a table caddy coming out in the next catalog, and obviously you're just going to use this to keep your things organized in the car. But what I want to focus on more is the kinds of things that you would put in your caddy. And for me, over the last year, when we've done so much traveling to and from school and afternoon activities and all of that stuff that you get into when you're a school parent, the 3 things that I have had to have in the car with me at all times are drinks, because my children are always thirsty and you can never have too much water. Snacks. This is something which I didn't realize at first, that when the kids got in the car after a really long day of school, they are so hungry, and particularly for Heidi, who often goes to dance class after school, she really needs to have something to eat that's going to sustain her through that next activity. So having something like these nut protein bars, which are another Aldi product, are something which are yummy, nutritionally balanced, so they're going to give your child that extra boost of energy that they need, and they're also really easy to just chuck into the car with you. And the third essential is a notes folder. So while I know that most schools these days have online portals and email communications and even Facebook pages, I know that our school does all of those 3 things because we are very much a paperless school. Every now and then we do still get the odd note here and there. And rather than keeping those at home, because I don't have an office or anything like that at the moment, I've kept them on hand with me at all times in just a clear plastic folder in the car. So by popping them in that clear plastic folder and popping that in your car caddy, you know that you're going to have those notes with you at all times and avoid any last minute panics over due dates, birthday parties, P&F meetings, or that gold coin donation that you didn't realize was due today, because you always have those notes on you. And my very last tip is, on that first day of school, give your child a diary, like this cute mermaid one Heidi picked out from Aldi, and use this as a communication point from your child to you. So something that we've always done before is ask our children in the afternoons about the peak and the pit of their day. That way we're sort of knowing about the best thing that's happened in their day and the worst thing. And often that's been a really great way to see what's going on inside our children's heads and talk issues that they might be having through with them and offer our support as parents. However, in the last year, I've noticed that Heidi is already moving into that. I know she's only 6, but she's moved into like an almost preteen attitude. It starts so young these days where sometimes she doesn't want to share things with me. And so I find that by having a little diary and saying, hey, do you want to write me a story about what happened in your day today? Or if they're even younger, saying, hey, do you want to draw me a picture of what your day looked like today? They're going to give you a pretty accurate depiction about the biggest thing that happened to them throughout the day, and this might give you a little bit of an insight into what's going on in their lives and help you communicate with them as a parent. Naturally, going to school, whether it's their first year or they're going into their very last year of school, is going to be a really big transition. So I just find that having something like that is a good way to keep up to date with how your children are feeling and open the lines of communication if they are struggling with anything. So that just about wraps up this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As per usual, I really enjoyed filming it. Let me know if you like these tip hack kinds of videos. I do try really hard to share my own experiences with you in these, as opposed to regurgitating something that I found on Pinterest, because I really don't like it when YouTubers do that. So I do hope that you guys found these ones a little bit different. And if you have any of your own tips or hints that you would like to share, or if you would like to extend on any of the ones that I've given today, please do so in the comments. I'll try to get around and message back everybody who does leave a comment, because I really do appreciate every single one of you offering your suggestions and experiences. So if you did like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you are new to this channel, and other than that, I will see you guys all next time. Bye.